A 40th birthday celebration is normally a pretty big affair, so it's no surprise Volkswagen has pulled out all the stops to mark 4 decades of the Golf GTI. Yet rather than throw a party, VW has pulled the wraps off a very special version of the car that started the hot hatch bull rolling back in 1976. And this is it. Called the Club Sport Edition 40, it's the most powerful and driver-focused model ever to wear the Golf GTI badge. But is it fast enough to beat our current hot hatch lap record holder, the Honda Civic Type R? Featuring even more power than the Golf, even wilder bodywork, and a suspension setup that's been tuned for the fearsome Nürburgring in Germany, both cars cost around £30,000, so which of our duo is faster? We pitch them head to head and against the clock at the compact and challenging Landau circuit in Wales.
Right, so first up it's the Golf GTI Club Sport. Now this is Volkswagen's 40th birthday present to the GTI. It's a GTI, but it's a bit more, so we get a bit more power. So under the bonnet, the 2-litre turbocharged engine, power goes up from around 220 horsepower to 265 horsepower, and there's also a special overboost function. So for 10 seconds in third gear and above, you get an extra about 30 brake horsepower. So it's about 290 brake horsepower you get, which is quite a lot for a Golf GTI. That's almost Golf R levels of performance. But it doesn't end there. So we also get stiffer dampers and springs for even sharper handling. On the outside, you'll see that there's a big spoiler on the back and some turning vanes on the front, some new wheels and some natty Club Sport graphics down the side. It's almost a bit unseemly for a Golf GTI to look quite so in your face, but you know, it certainly serves the purpose. People know that this is something special. Like the standard car, there's a choice of 6-speed manual and 6-speed DSG. We've got the DSG car here today, so it's not an entirely fair comparison with the Honda, but you know, the ratios are roughly the same for the manual and the DSG car, so hopefully performance, it shouldn't be too different. Also as standard, you get the special electronically controlled mechanical diff, which shuffles torque across the axle to sort of find the best traction out of corners. This car's also got the optional dynamic chassis control, so that's adaptive dampers. It's effectively stiffer across the board, so even in comfort on the road, it's almost a bit much. The faster you go, the better it gets. It smooths out the bumps, but you've really got to be sort of travelling quite quickly. Right, so let's see how the Golf performs over a lap. Now that engine, there we go, once it climbs above 5,000 RPM, that extra power starts to show, and the brakes, they're the bigger items from the Golf GTI Performance Pack. There's decent bites and they feel powerful enough. This change of direction, you can feel the diff just trying to put the power down, but it's spinning up an inside wheel. You can hear it there just flaring up. Turn in, and the steering is nicely weighted and there's decent feel, but it just doesn't feel as incisive on the turn in as the Honda. Down the far straight on those brakes again, and yeah, they're powerful enough. See the fast change of direction again, it just feels like the nose wants to bleed wide, and once again get on the power, and that's better. The diff's starting to work now through this faster corner and across the line. Well, let's see what the Golf did.
So, the Club Sport set a time of 49.4 seconds. Let's see if the Honda can beat it.
Okay, so here we go in the Honda Civic Type R. Now, this is currently our fastest front-wheel drive hot hatch around this circuit, and some people might be asking, why are we pitching the Golf against this car? Because on paper, the Civic has quite an advantage. So we've got 306 brake horsepower, a monstrous 400 Newton meters of torque. So in terms of power, this car is, well, it's quite a way ahead of the Golf, even with the Golf's overboost, which takes it to 290 horsepower. The reality is, they're both track-focused cars. Volkswagen have designed the Club Sport to be a GTI for people who head out on track days, and in that case, it's got to go up against this car, because this is the king of tracks when it comes to hot hatches. Sure, it's a bit wild on the road, a bit stiff and unruly, but get it onto a circuit and it's really, really impressive. It's been designed purely for track performance, and that means everything about it is finely honed. I mean, the looks won't be to all tastes. I mean, for me, the wings and the vents, they look more burnt out in a McDonald's car park than Banzai lap of the Nürburgring, but there's no denying all those extras are effective, and there's a no-nonsense approach to the driving modes, whereas the Golf, we had Sport, Normal, Eco, comfort individual. With the Civic, you've got normal, and then there's an R+ button, which tightens all the dampers down, sharpens the throttle response. It's been designed specifically for the Nürburgring, which is handy if the Nürburgring is on your commute to work, but otherwise it makes it almost unbearable to drive on the road. It's just too stiff. But ultimately it's a car that's designed for maximum performance on a track. So let's find out how fast it'll go as we start our flying lap. Now, that engine, it's turbocharged unlike the old Honda Civic VTEC units, but it's still got that sort of rabid top end where it just wants to rev all the way out to its 7,000 RPM red line. It's not very charismatic. It sounds like a vacuum cleaner being sucked through a food blender, but it's brutally effective. Ready, it just feels so much more pointy and grippy than the Golf. You can lean on the brakes with extra confidence, and then when you turn in, the whole car just pivots around you, grips, and you get on the throttle and it goes. You can feel the diff working, dragging the car through the corner, and then you just get hard on the throttle and that engine just hauls it down the straight. It is monumentally quick and across the line. I have a feeling that might have been quite a bit quicker than the Golf.
So the Honda stopped the clock at 46.9 seconds, which was a massive 2.5 seconds faster than the Golf. But in the end, the Civic was simply much quicker everywhere. Down the straights, under braking, and through the corners. The limited edition Golf has exclusivity and heritage on its side, but if you want the fastest front-wheel drive hot hatch, then look no further than the Honda Civic Type R. To watch a track battle between 3 generations of Honda Civic Type R, click the video on the left. To watch a track battle between the Ford Focus RS and the BMW M2, click the video on the right. Click on the play symbol to watch our latest video, and click on our logo to subscribe.